Have you ever tried jumping from drinking a liter to 3 liters? It's tough. Don't bring yourself down. There's always a way around it. The little everyday habits that add up over time. Hey guys, and welcome back to It's Pretty Simple. We are on season 2 and it's going to be great. I want to start with saying thank you all for your support during season 1. I really appreciate the follows, the likes, the subscriptions, the shares, and the comments that you guys have left. I've got great plans for season 2 and I really hope you guys like it. If there's anything specific that you want me to talk about, please let me know. I want to make content that is of value for you and things that you would like to learn. All right, so it's been a wild couple of weeks. I've been traveling a lot. I went skiing in the Dolomites, which I highly recommend if you haven't been. It's such a beautiful place. Spent some time in Italy, went to a few cities, and of course, I had to visit Rome. It literally used to be my getaway when I was in uni. It just takes me back to a time where everything seemed hard, but it wasn't now that you're an adult. But no, I really love going to Rome. I haven't been for 13 years, so it was really nice to be there again. Absolutely love it. It really is a eternal city. The history, the architecture, like being there just makes you want to like live the Roman time for that little bit and just see what it was like. But yeah, anyway, I needed a break. I usually like to take my breaks in January, but now we're back and we're getting back on track and I'm feeling really great to be back in action. So we're now done with January and we are into February. And I know a lot of people are in the new year, new me phase. You set your resolutions, you're grinding to crush your goals. And while I love that energy a lot, I've got to admit, I don't really do New Year's resolutions anymore. They just feel like so much pressure on me. You like set these huge goals, and then by February, a lot of people are starting to feel like they've already fallen off track. And I feel that's because of the pressure, one, and because I think we put too many goals down at one time. So ever since I started taking January as a holiday month, this New Year's resolution thing stopped with me, and I feel so much better about it. It's like the whole world is doing it, and then you do it too. So, but yeah, so by February, we're already kind of falling off the wagon. Maybe not everyone, but a lot of people, yes, because we're trying to overachieve and overreach a little bit. I mean, how are you feeling right now in Feb? Are you still grinding? Have you slowed down a little bit? And if you have slowed down, it's not a big deal. So what I like to do is I do quarterly goals and habit-based goals. They work way better for me. So these methods that I use, they keep me focused and motivated without that overwhelming feeling that comes with trying to stick with this New Year's resolution list of things that you want to achieve. So today I'm going to dive into why I love these two approaches and how they are keeping me consistent all year long. So why do quarterly goals work for me? The reason I love them is simple. They are short enough to keep me engaged, but long enough to see real progress. I used to try to set these big goals for the entire year, but a year feels like so much time and you can easily lose focus just from procrastination or also life. You're going to travel, you're going to have family issues, maybe not, I hope not, but you're going to, things happen. So a year is a really, really long time to have this one goal for. So with quarterly goals, I found a sweet spot where I can stay motivated, see results, and always have something to focus on without getting off track. So, for example, I'm currently training for a half marathon, which is going to be in September. Now, I know a whole marathon cycle usually takes much longer, but I've split this training into quarterly goals. I didn't just jump in and say I'm going to go run a 21K. Instead, I started by focusing on improving my 5K time, which I did. Then I set a goal for doing a 10K. Now I've done two, and now the plan is to build from there. So it keeps everything manageable, and each milestone kind of builds on the last one. So you're breaking it up into little bits, and it feels way more achievable and keeps me motivated as I progress because the focus is not the 21K right now. It's to get better at the 10K and then do my first 15K and go on from there. So this is how I like to approach all my goals, whether it's fitness or life or work. I break down the bigger goals into smaller focus steps. And so that way I don't get overwhelmed and I can actually track my progress along the way. So these little milestones make you feel like you're actually achieving something than going in for the big thing at the end, right? Because that's going to happen anyway if you stick to breaking things down. So setting realistic quarterly goals. So how do I approach my quarterly goals? One of the most important things for me is to pick something specific to train for. I need something clear to work towards. That's just how I am, and I'm sure a lot of people are like that as well. So when I was preparing for my cycling trip last year, I focused a lot on cycling training and building leg strength. So that's what I was doing in the gym, making sure I was making my legs, quads, hamstrings, glutes, everything strong. Having that clear purpose made the whole process a lot more exciting and motivating. I was doing something different for a couple of months. In the same way, when I trained for a climbing course, I spent the summer building strength specifically for climbing, which I had a lot of fun in. I spent a lot of time in the bouldering gym and doing different types of warm ups I'd never do. And even at the gym, I was working on muscle groups that I don't really focus on, like a lot of isolation stuff. So it was really cool. It was kind of hard to get bored of. Next thing you want to do is make sure that it is achievable. The key here is to set goals that are challenging, but they're also realistic. So if I'm going to go run a whole marathon right off the bat, probably would have burnt out by now already. So with the training I'm doing now, as I mentioned, I'm trying to improve the 5K, 10K, and then just working my way up. So it's about gradual progress. Same thing if you're going to the gym. If you're trying to hit a PR on a squat, for example, you're not just going to load the barbell with tons of weights and try to hit the PR. You're going to gradually get stronger and you're going to stay consistent with the movement on a weekly basis to make sure that you are building the strength to be able to hit that PR that you have, right? One of the most important things with this is that you need to focus on one thing at a time. So if you're trying to juggle too many different goals at once, that's when the problem's going to happen. So when I was preparing for my jiu-jitsu competition, I didn't try to train for anything else. Literally, I just focused on that goal for 3 whole months, and it gave me the structure I needed to prepare properly. So doing a lot of jiu-jitsu made me realize what I needed to work on in the gym. So my gym workouts were complementing jiu-jitsu, but the focus was jiu-jitsu at the time. So when I say don't work on too many goals at once, it's obviously bracketed, right? So you've got your fitness goals, you've got your personal goals, your financial goals, your I don't know, whatever goals that you have. So each of them should only have one thing at a time. So now let's just focus on the fitness part of this. So if you are going to, for example, you're training for a half marathon, you're not also at the same time going to try and hit a PR for your squat because you're probably going to end up getting injured, right? Or if you are training for a half marathon, you're not going to go and train for a jiu-jitsu competition, right? Because you're just going to burn out. So having this one goal makes it easier to actually focus fully on it, and it makes it fun. And of course, you need to have room for flexibility. Things are not always going to go according to plan, and that is completely okay. So don't give yourself shit about it. And I think that's the biggest problem with New Year's resolutions. You need to allow flexibility. If I miss a workout or have a busy week, I just adjust. So if I miss a workout or have a busy week, I adjust and I move things around as long as I'm getting the base done. The beauty of quarterly goals is that they give me enough time to stay on track, even if life is happening on the way. So it's not going to be a big deal if I miss 2 days of something in a row because I can just adjust things around because I'm not overwhelming myself with too many things on my schedule. Now let's talk about habit-based goals. The little everyday habits that add up over time and keep me on track with my bigger goals. So it's just, again, breaking it down a little bit more. So these goals don't really have any deadlines. They're just what support everything else that I want to do. So, because instead of trying to overhaul my entire life at once, I break it down and introduce these habits slowly, week by week. So, let's say, for example, I want to start drinking more water. I don't just jump in and say, I'm going to go and drink 3 liters a day. It's not going to happen. Have you ever tried jumping from drinking a liter to 3 liters? It's tough. So I start by adding just one extra glass of water for a day for the rest of the week. And then the next week, I aim for 2 extra glasses. By the end of the month, it's supposed to be a habit and it becomes a habit. And that way I'm just hitting my hydration goals without feeling overwhelmed. And that's going to help with my fitness goals, my nutrition goals, my energy goals, etc. So here's a breakdown of how I introduce habits week by week. This was a structure that I had done last year. So I wanted to wake up earlier. So week 1, start by waking up 15 minutes earlier every single day. It's small, it's an easy change, and it sets a positive tone to your day. Now, week 2, we continue waking up early and we add an extra glass of water per day. You need hydration for performance and energy, right? Now, week 3, you're going to wake up 15 minutes earlier. So by then, I think you would have already set in motion the time. And then we're going to keep adding the 1 extra glass. And the new habit of the week is meditating for 3 minutes every morning. 3 minutes is pretty much where I can focus until I take that up week by week, and then I can go up more. But that's where the starting point for me was at the time. Um, I like meditating in the morning. It helps me stay grounded and clear headed, and I can focus a lot more. Week four, again, you're going to continue waking up early because now by week four, it should already be a habit. And you've got the hydration, then you've got the 3 minutes, or maybe now it's 5 minutes of meditation. And week four, the new habit is going to be incorporating 10 minutes of stretching after every workout. It's a small habit, but it is important. So these are all the little things you need to add in. Now we're looking at week five. You're going to continue the same. You're still waking up early. You're adding that extra glass of water. You are meditating. You are stretching your 10 minutes. And the new habit to add in is one extra serving of vegetables each day, right? So it's pretty important. Simple changes, it's going to make a big difference. So the goal is to introduce these habits slowly, so it doesn't feel like too much. So they're kind of, you're just stacking them on top of each other, and you have it every week, continuing with the old one. So by the end of the month, I'm not just forcing myself to do these things every day and checking them off the list. They just become part of your routine. And this is because I've tried before to say, okay, so these are the goals, how many workouts I want to do a week, blah, blah, blah. And then these are the habits I want to have. So I make the list of these habits. So let's take these exact same habits: waking up early, drinking more water, vegetables, stretching, etc. Now I put the whole list and I put these little boxes, right, to tick. Now, if I'm trying to start from day one to tick all of those boxes when not even one is part of my routine, I'm not going to do any of them. Maybe I might tick one off. And then I'm just going to feel like shit at the fact that I didn't manage to finish it and I didn't manage to do all of them. So this way, trying to hit that one habit for the entire week before introducing the next one, it's more realistic and it's easier to actually implement into your life. Right now, after my vacation, I've obviously not been sticking to a lot of habits. So at this moment right now, I'm trying to again introduce it the same way, which is why I wanted to do a podcast about this, because I'm currently doing it. And I know it's going to be much quicker because these are already things that have been part of my life, but because of such a long break, I have to reintroduce them slowly. And I know that by the end of Feb, we're all good. Everything's back on track. So those are the strategies that I like to use. But before we wrap up, I want to mention a few other goal setting strategies as well that might work for you if the quarterly goals or habit building isn't your thing, but give it a try either way. So here's a quick rundown. You've got SMART goals. These are great for creating clear, actionable targets. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. I'm sure you've heard of this quite a bit. It's one of the most common ones that people tend to use. So, for example, instead of saying I want to get stronger, a SMART goal would be I want to increase my squat by 10 kg in the next 3 months. So, this gives you a concrete number to aim for. Then we have WHOOP, not like the watch, but WHOOP is wish, outcome, obstacle, and plans. So this strategy helps you anticipate what might get in the way and make a plan to overcome those obstacles. So for example, if your goal is to run a marathon, WHOOP is going to help you think through potential challenges. So like time constraints, because that running takes a lot of time, injury risks, and how you can plan around them. And then you have objectives and key results, OKRs. Set broader goals and break them out into specific key results. So, for example, your objective could be become a better runner, and your key results might be run 3 times a week and improve my 5K time by 30 seconds. So, this is a flexible way to track your progress. You're setting the number of times, and you also have a goal with that. Then you have the 2% rule. This one is all about incremental progress. So instead of going for big dramatic changes, which obviously people cannot really stick to realistically in the long term, you focus on improving by just 2% every single day. So this is a great day to stay motivated without feeling overwhelmed as well. So to wrap things up, quarterly goals and habit goals have been key for me in staying consistent and being motivated and staying on track with everything I want to achieve. It's kind of a mix of all these other strategies that I've explained because I've honestly tried every single one to try and figure out what works best for me. And these two kind of bring these elements in and put them together. Because I'm somebody who loses focus very fast. I'm someone who likes new challenges. I don't like doing the same thing over and over again. And so planning my goals that way really, really make it help. So whether I'm training for a Spartan race or a half marathon or just focusing on my daily habits I'm trying to get back or if I want to introduce something new, these methods keep things fun for me and they're super manageable and I don't feel like shit if I don't check something off the box. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of ways that you can set your goals. The important thing is that you need to find what works best for you and stick with it. Try it long enough that you can actually see if it's working for you or not. And there's nothing wrong with changing systems if it's not working. So before I moved to Spain, I had a more structured life with routine. So I really had to make sure, everything was nicely structured. And then at that point, the way my routine was and the way I was setting goals and everything and challenges and stuff is very different from what I'm doing now because my life and routine has changed. So you also need to remember if something worked for you, I don't know, 3, 4 years ago, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you now. You're at a different place now. So keep that in mind. Don't bring yourself down. There's always a way around it. Find what works for you in a way that's fun and does not add any extra stress to you. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the first episode of season 2 of It's Pretty Simple. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you found any of these methods useful, let me know. And if you already use one of these methods, please let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I'm super excited for the season to take off. I've got some really cool episodes planned out. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, please make sure you let me know if there's something you want to talk about. And if you are not subscribed or following, please make sure to hit that follow or subscribe button. It really, really helps. I will speak to you guys next week. Take care.